Hello. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our webinar on policy and practices in research publications. I am Dr. Alpa Agrawal, and I will be moderating today's panel discussion. Yesterday, we heard three very insightful presentations. The first explored the peer review process, emphasizing fairness, transparency, and emerging models. The second discussed the importance of geographical diversity in editorial boards, highlighting how inclusive representation can shape global research visibility.
Okay, sir.
Finally, we looked at content relevance and how editorial policies determine the value and impact of published work. Today, we are excited to build on those themes with a panel of 5 distinguished experts who will share their views on evolving publication practices and policies. Let me have the pleasure of introducing them to you. Dr. Hannah Ranji Williams. Dr. Williams is professor and head of ophthalmology at Pondicherry Institute of Medical Sciences. She has authored over 30 publications in reputed journals and is the editor-in-chief of the Indian Journal of Clinical and Experimental Ophthalmology, which is Scopus indexed. She also serves as an ad hoc reviewer for several national and international journals and is active in academic and community-based ophthalmic outreach. Welcome, Dr. Madan Jayaraman. Dr. Jayaraman is an assistant professor of orthopedics at ACS Medical College with a PhD in stem cell and regenerative medicine. With over 390 publications, 2,700 plus citations, and a focus on regen orthopedics, he is a prolific researcher. His work includes clinical applications of PRP and stem cell therapies in osteoarthritis. Dr. Lalit Gupta. With 16 years in research, Dr. Gupta has published over 100 papers and authored key textbooks, including Synopsis of Anesthesia and Drugs in Anesthesia. He serves on editorial boards of 80 plus journals and was a panelist for the BRICS Civil Forum, contributing to education and science policy recommendations. Welcome, sir. Dr. Bala Murugan Rajendran, he is a leading oral and maxillofacial surgeon associated with several professional and academic bodies, including the International Congress of Oral Implantologists and the Global Journal of Research in Dental Sciences. He plays active roles in editorial boards, clinical research, and dental education through multiple institutions across India. Welcome, sir. Dr. Anand, he is affiliated with S. Nijalingappa and Sri B.M. Patil Medical Colleges and is a member of National Microbiology Associations, including the Academy of Clinical Microbiologists. His work focuses on clinical and diagnostic microbiology with a special interest in human and animal mycology and infectious diseases research. We welcome you all. I would now like to invite Ms. Khushbu to talk about IP Innovative and IESRF. Over to you, Khushbu.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to all the respected panelists and welcome to Practice and Policies in Research publication. So it's my honor to give a short intro of IESRF Foundation. Innovative Education and Scientific Research Foundation is one of the leading non-profit organizations dedicated to medical and scientific research. IESRF is associated with various scientists, medical professionals, research scholars, and students who are dedicated to research and development in the field of medical, health, pharmaceutical, nursing, dental, and allied science. IP Innovative Publication Private Limited is a leading publisher in the publication of medical, dental, nursing, pharmacy, print and open access books and journals in India and serving since last 15 years. We are currently publishing 57 plus journals and 300 plus books in medical and health science subject. We believe in the power of open access to accelerate and dissemination of scientific research publication, which makes it accessible to researchers, scholars, academicians, and the researchers community. Here at the below, you can see the stats of the IP Innovative, which shows the number of the journals, published papers, manuscript submissions, and articles, downloaded articles viewed per year. Now, what's the objective of this symposium? This symposium aims to foster discussion on the latest trends in research, publication ethics, regulatory practices, and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and digital innovation. Your expertise and insights are instrumental in maintaining the credibility, relevance, and scholarly integrity of our journals. The agenda: editorial board composition, peer review process, and content relevance and the quality. So, today's panel discussion will revolve around these three agendas of the editorial evaluation criteria from Web of Science. So our speakers, so ma'am has already given a great introduction of our speakers. So moving forward, here you can see the Scoopus evaluation guidelines. We will discuss on these guidelines too. So on the screen, you can see the Web of Science journal evaluation process. So there are overall total 28 sub points. So first initial triage, we have completed additional editorial triage also, but we are facing somehow problem in the third step. In the third step, that is editorial evaluation, this stage is creating a problem because in it there are some specific points which needs attention, which there we need the guidance, the assistance of our editorial board and reviewer members. So we have chosen first or in between the three topics, that is again editorial board composition, peer review, and content relevance. So let me introduce to the currently indexed journals. There are total 10 Scopus index journal we are having and one DOAJ. So let's start with Indian Journal of Clinical Experimental Ophthalmology, IP International Journal of Medical Microbiology and Tropical Disease, Indian Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology Research, IP Annals of Prosthodontic and Restorative Dentistry, Indian Journal of Clinical Anesthesia, IP Indian Journal of Clinical and Experimental Dermatology, Panacea Journal of Medical Sciences, Journal of Contemporary Orthodontics. So now it's my honor and I am very delighted to share a good news with all of you that recently we got two journals indexed in Scopus. First one is IP Indian Journal of Immunology and Respiratory Medicine, and second is Indian Journal of Forensic and Community Medicine. It indicates that we are working in a right direction. So we are following the routes which give fruitful result. So this is great achievement for IP Innovative Publication, and thank you to all the editors and reviewers. It's a team result basically. So this is all about IP Innovative Publication and a few stats of IP Innovative Publication. So let's start today panel discussion with uh, with first question. So I hope you all are very excited. So the first question is, am I audible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, you are audible.
Am I
Yes,
clearly
Khushbu.
audible to all of you? Because then if then only the participation will be more interactive and fruitful. So first one is, what criteria should guide the selection of editorial board members? I am repeating my question. What criteria should guide the selection of editorial board members? As the editorial board composition, it should be mandatory that what the members we are having in our editorial board member should be qualified, having expertise in their specific field. So according to you, what criteria we should consider? Let's start with Lalit Gupta sir. So please share your perspectives regarding question.
So, since you have asked for the editorial board members, at least they should have at least the highest degree of the MD or
Yes,
the PhD or whatever in their field. They should have an H index of at least 10. Or sometimes if people say H index of 10 is more, so at least 5 or 6 H index should be there. They should have at least few publication like 10 or 20 with them. And more than they should have they should have done as a reviewer for a long time for that particular journal or the similar journal, so that they have the expertise and they should know the well in the policies and the publication guidelines of that journals. Apart from that, all should have they should not be in any way financially assisted, or they should have disclosed their conflict of interest whenever they are becoming the editorial board members. There are more things like they should be willing to give the some time to the general, like they should be daily giving at least for a week. They should be able to give 2 or 3 hours to the generals. They should be able to assist the reviewer. They should be helping the drafting the guidelines to the generals. And if you say they should be able to oversee the various functioning, and if they found there any the fault in the general guidelines or in the process, they should communicate with the editor in chief or the publisher.
Yes, sir. All points are very good. Dr. Anand, sir.
Yeah, I agree with all the points told by Lalit sir. Uh, uh, I feel the expertise of the editorial board member should be in the scope of the journal, and it should be reviewed periodically, depending upon
Yes.
availability for new editorial board members, and also those people who are not able to contribute and or they have requested to leave the membership. All these things should be taken into account, and it should be reviewed periodically. Sometimes some journals have very broad scope, like Indian Journal of Microbiology Research. We have human microbiology, and we have animal veterinary microbiology, environmental microbiology. So we need to have appropriate proportion of specialists from each of these sub branches which are covered under the scope of the journal.
Yes, sir. Dr. Madan, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Myself, Dr. Madan Jaraman. I'm from Chennai. Recently, I have taken over the International Journal of Orthopedic Rheumatology. I'm the editor-in-chief from past 6 months. So my perspective on the editorial board is little different. First thing, I would expect the editor-in-chief to be having H index of more than 15, and they should have a minimum publications of more than 75 plus in various national and international indexed journals. And I would be expecting that editor-in-chief should not publish except editorial in that particular journal where they are serving as editor-in-chief. And the reviewer committee have to be reviewed every 3 months once to add good new reviewers who are interested and specific to that particular field. And the other editorial members like associate editor, managing editor, uh, associate editors of different subcommittee of that particular journal have to be periodically changed according to the expertise of that particular journal associate editor or whomsoever in the editorial board. The last one I would emphasize, always have a global geographical intake of editorial members. The editorial members should not be like uh, they, the president and secretary of this forum, so we have to keep. No, it is not so. The forum is different, society is different, but the general policies are always different. We have to formulate a specific guidelines for forming an editorial board, and we have to adapt the same. And last point, I would always tell, always be the journal editors or the editorial board should not be in hurry to give an editorial. If it is a guest editorial for every issue, it will be great for that particular journal. That means zero publication from the editorial board side to that particular journal. That will reduce your endogeny, and editor that particular journal will go index at the earliest possible. For example, Scopus or Web of Science, every indexing agent will be reviewing the number of publications done by the editorial board in that particular journal. If we take like that, the endogeny will be more if they are closely associated with the journal. Always have a global representation of editorial members, and the papers receiving for that particular issue or the journal should be from the globe. It should not be defined in a particular area. So this is my point of view when I started thinking about a journal editorial board. Even we are for IJR, we are planning to change and replace a few editorial board members for global scale.
Yeah, so let's move to the next question. Thanks for the great insight. So, Dr. Hana, this is for you. How can transparency and accountability be improved in peer review process?
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for including me on this panel. This is something which it is the basis of scientific publishing, being transparent and being honest. And this depends on the integrity of each member of the editorial board and the integrity of the reviewers. If there is a conflict of interest, we cannot expect who's sitting in Delhi to know about that conflict of interest. Each of us has to be honest, and if there is a conflict of interest, we need to bring it out, whether you're the editor or you're a first-time reviewer. It's based on our own integrity and honesty. At the same time, there are various ways in which we can follow the guidelines, scope guidelines, ICJME, which is laid down. Everyone should be familiar with those guidelines. If we follow those, I don't see there should be any issue.
Very true, ma'am. Thank you. Dr. Bala, your views?
Hi, hello. Actually, a peer reviewer must understand the framework of a manuscript when they receive. They must know what the manuscript has followed the guidelines of the journal has been followed, or we say like if there is a article that has been submitted based on a randomized control trial, the peer reviewer must know what the consort statement guidelines. Okay, he must first know what are the criteria that a randomized control trial should contain. So it's not about just including peer reviewers of our colleagues or friends. No, it's all based on the experience and the skills that they already have in the field of research. Because I could see that majority of journals do not follow the certain guidelines, say like there's a randomized control trial, or in a systematic review articles, we need to follow Prisma's guidelines. So which many of the journals do not follow, though it surpasses the editors. The peer reviewers are the one who needs to hold on to these guidelines. So I could see this as a biggest issue that I could see many published articles in many journals. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Anand, anything to add?
Yeah, when we talk about transparency in publication, there are different perspectives. Transparency of data submission to the journal by the author, and also the transparency of review process, and transparency of any post-publication editing that happens sometimes because of some errors. So all these things should be part of the transparency protocol or SOP of the journal. There should be a clearly defined standard operating procedure of the journal. So it should be followed by each one of these people. Okay, I think as Madam Hannah Madam suggested, we can follow the guidelines of ICMJE and COPE. Already enough guidelines are available. They are very clear. If we follow that, then this transparency and accountability will be automatically taken care of. Generally, these are read by editorial members and reviewers also should be encouraged to go through. These are not very extensive documents. ICMJE guidelines is hardly around 20 pages. Everybody can read. Even authors can read so that they can prepare their manuscript in a much better way.
Very true, sir. If everyone starts following the SOP, the guidelines, the process will automatically get streamlined. Dr. Lalit?
So most of the things are said, but my one more point is said. If the reviewers are giving some review, to maintain the transparency, the same reviews should be shown to the author. Because most of the time I have seen the editor just simply write, okay, the paper is rejected or accepted just because they have only their point of view. But what the reviewers have said, even if there are the 3 reviewers, 1 is accepted and 2 have rejected, all the 3 comments should be sent to the authors to maintain the transparency. You cannot hide the results of the reviewer just to say accept or reject the paper. Rest of the things are already said, the guidelines, the COPE guidelines and other things, they should be followed in the same way.
Very well answers given to the question, how can transparency and accountability be improved in the peer review process, as the reviewers and the editorial board are the strength, are the one who will check the content and quality. quality of the article published. Okay, so here is the next question. What standards should be used to determine content quality across disciplines? What standards should be used to determine content quality across disciplines? In this question, guidelines as well as your personal choice will also come, because as an editorial, as a reviewer, we are not supposed to be friend of authors. There is no judgment like he is my friend or something else, so there is no empathy in such case. So what kind of criteria you will have in your mind while reviewing an article, so that we can maintain the content and quality of the article? So let's see with Dr. Anand sir.
Yeah, content quality can be ensured at multiple levels. When the article is first received by a journal, either editor-in-chief or somebody from the editorial board will review whether it is within the scope of the journal, also whether there is novelty and repeatability and reliability pertaining to methods. And we will also check whether the authors have submitted appropriate ethical approval, sometimes scientific review, all those things. So these will set the tone for whether this article that is submitted can be reviewed further or not. And then we have each journal has its own guidelines, list of things that individual research reviewer has to fill comments for. So that automatically this can be made more extensive by including checklists, things like especially when it comes to methodology, we are more concerned with that. So methodology should be reviewed thoroughly, and whether the methodology and the results they are correlating or not, all these things. So step by step, all these things can be done. And to include everything and not to miss anything, we can have a detailed checklist for reviewers. And also, as a next level, editorial board members can also have a simplified checklist. If we follow that, we can ensure quality in almost all the manuscripts received by the journal.
Very well said, sir. So, like you have raised one point, methodology. This is very valid. Because I think it will somehow not aligning with a reviewer's or editorial expertise, because the method section may be a research vary from one person to another person. So, Dr. Lalit Gupta, sir, how we can deal with that?
So what I think, apart from the methodology, the first thing should be the originality and the novelty of the article. It should be. The second thing is that it should meet the aims and objective of the scope of your journal. The third thing is that the methodology trigger should be proper. All the things are as per the like the CTRI, the Declaration of Helsinki, the IEC clearance should be in place, the inclusion-exclusion criteria, the statistical analysis. There is a particular framework and the journal's guidelines that should be followed. And moreover that the journal must have a reproducive values. If the results are statistically correct, it should be accepted and with the along with the originality. So the things that it is not like you have just taken out your 10-year-old article, which is of not of relevance in the current scenario. The study that you are going to publish must have something that is equivalent to the current scenario, because in the 10 years, a lot of things have published similarly. So you must maintain the guidelines, the content, and the material, the methodology. All things should be there. And apart from that, when the article goes to the reviewer must have the like they are accepting or giving the revision. They should not like the article is very good, accepted. The article is poor, rejected. The critical comment should be there before accepting or rejecting an article in the journal.
Very well said, sir. Satisfying answer. Dr. Hana, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree with everything which has been said so far. A sound research question, a very clear research question is something which will help in the quality. And Also, sample size. Many of the submissions which we get are actually PG thesis. So the sample size is quite small. So it may
Yes.
not be appropriate for publication in a Scopus Index journal. And also follow up. With thesis, we have this problem. Something which you expect a complication post surgical complication to come after 1 year. The complication starts after 1 year. We expect a follow-up of at least 3 years or 5 years. But many of the studies submitted, the follow-up is extremely short. For such a condition, the follow-up would have only been for a few weeks. So we need to look at all that sample size, follow-up, and of course the research question. Is that clear enough?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Balamurugan, sir?
I think the maximum points has been covered, but I could say like in methodology section, there is something called as a blinding and randomization. Okay, so that pays attention in any research article because there are high chances for bias. Because I came across like the study has been performed not adhering to the randomization or the blinding process, but when they draft a manuscript, they draft in such a way as per the consort statement guidelines. Okay, so that has no relevance in the outcome of the study. So which has to be done in a pure ethical way. And number two is I think it would be better when a section editor holds an article. Say like if it is a anesthesia department or a oral implantology department, if that particular editor holds an article, I think they can handle the manuscript in a better way than a random editor who picks up that particular article. Yeah, I think the other points are covered, but the most important thing is transparency. The author as well as the editor as well as a peer reviewer must maintain a transparency. The reviewer comments must be sent to the author, though it's rejected or not. The author must know like for what reasons the article has been rejected, so that they can follow it up, they can process it in a further journals for submission. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. Author must be aware about the loop points so that he can fulfill the loop points and make his or her article to publish it next time. Dr. Madan, sir, would you like to add some points?
Yes. Regarding systematic review or meta-analysis, the author should have applied for Prospero registration, and the author should follow PRISMA guidelines. Each and every article type have some guidelines to be followed. That has to be filled up, and it has to be submitted along with the supplementary file in a precise way. For example, stroke guidelines, CARE guidelines, all these guidelines have to be met in methodology. And if it is a multi-centric clinical trial or multi-centric RCT, they have to submit all the centers ethics committee approval. One ethics committee approval for multi-centric trial is not acceptable. So these points have to be checked for the betterment of the journal. If the journal has to attain a peak for getting an impact factor or to sustain in the community, it has to check all the points possible. And the next one, all the editors have to think about the author contribution according to the criteria. And this author contribution have to be explicitly expressed in the journal. I mean, in the article. Why I'm telling this is so many researchers are getting those authors which can be avoided. If they have contributed for something, it has to be honestly mentioned there. If some researcher have done only proofreading, it has to be mentioned in the article that AB has done proofreading, CD has given images, DE has collected the data, analysis, implementation. All these points have to be mentioned in the article explicitly. Then I would like to recommend all the authors to register in ORCID, ORCID, so that it will be reflecting in their ORCID page, as well as the user domain can search the article with the help of ORCID also. So that is one of the major lacuna we have. And we should be, as an editor, I should be very, very having a stringent criteria in selecting an article for publication, because nowadays there is a school of thought, if we pay the APC, article will get published. No, it is not so. Even if they pay APC, it won't get published. Even multiple revisions, after so many revisions, if the article is getting rejected, it has to be rejected outright. It should not be dealt like 3 revisions has gone, we have to accept. No, those points we have to be very stringent, and it has to be laid out like a criteria in our journal web page as well. So these are all the points we have to be looked for in the methodology or inside the article which is getting published in the higher indexing, either PubMed, Scopus, Web of Science, or Thomson Reuters.
Very well explained, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's a humble request from the participants. Please ask your questions, and please listen the questions very carefully. You can also answer the answers of the question as well as your queries in the chat box. So now, Dr. Alpam, unmute, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So thanks, Khushbu. Moving to the next question. What training or support should be provided to peer reviewers? Dr. Anand, we'll start from you. Training support for peer reviewers.
All right. So I think this journal house is actually doing a considerably good job conducting periodical learning platforms. So these can be quite helpful. We can also disseminate information, any updates in WhatsApp group. We already have WhatsApp group for reviewers and editorial board members. These can be done.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Lalit, your views.
So for the reviewer, we should have the regular meetings, the web seminar where we should tell them the aims and scope of the journal. Very first thing. We should tell them the guidelines that are needed to review, as previously has been told, the STOP guidelines, PRISMA guidelines, consort guidelines, because most of the reviewers do not know how to review a paper. Some journals starts few courses like the BMC and the Nature. They have started their own refresher course where the reviewers are getting the certificates of how to review a paper. They are the detailed guidelines and the course material as well. Moreover, I think there should be onboarding and offboarding meetings or seminars arranged for them with the material which is already being like the YouTube videos or whatever the previous lectures that has been taken on the same topics. And their feedback must also be taken so that we should know what they are lacking or what they are expecting before the review. And the last thing, whenever you are getting the review, at the present time, reviewers are difficult to get. So the most important thing is that we should, if possible, employ some reviewer award programs. Like if you do the 10 review, you should get 50% waiver on the APC. Or if you do the 30 reviewers, your name, you will be given the certificate of the best reviewer from the journal. Or similar, like we should encourage them that not they should only the review. They should also write for the journal. They should be also submitting their manuscript or their whatever the thoughts to the journals.
Thank you so much, sir. Very good takeaways. Dr. Balamurgan?
I think we must first look whether the peer reviews, who are the peer reviews they are interested to review that particular manuscript. I think we need to check on that. Okay, so once they are interested to review a manuscript, they obviously follow the timeline for the review process. Within the timeline, they complete the review process and submit it back. But at times, what happens is sometimes the manuscripts are sent directly to that particular reviewers to review it. But we don't have an option whether they are interested to review it or not. Yes, there are many reviewers who reviews a paper since they have sent the paper to us. So that way it goes. So that we need to calculate on that, and we need to. And secondly, it's very difficult to find an expert peer reviewer who is good at his domain, that specific domain. So I would suggest, like, maybe if some new researchers, like new researchers or individual who is interested in peer reviewing, maybe we can do a peer reviewing workshop, and training, and then we can give an assessment. Based on the assessment, maybe we can invite new reviewers based on the each sections of the research. I think that would help in a better way to find a good peer reviewers, so that we can calculate to submit the manuscript within timelines, and all the process goes on time, so it doesn't delay on the author side as well.
Very right, sir.
I would like
Assigning a
to-
peer for a review is equally important. Very right, sir. Dr. Hannah, any
Yeah,
points to
can I
add?
add one more point to this
Yeah,
discussion?
please,
Yeah.
Dr. Anand,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
So many times we see that reviewers accept, and the quality of the review is quite variable. Sometimes we just get a very broad comment, good, satisfactory, like this. There are no specific comments for individual sections. So what I would suggest is periodically, either editor-in-chief or somebody in the editorial board can review the reviews and give suggestions, feedback to the reviewers, so that many of them are new to this process, so that they can learn and improvise their skills of review.
Yes, sir. Even reviewing the peer reviewers should be a robust part of the process.
Yes, feedback
Yeah.
is
Dr.
required.
Hannah? Yeah.
Yes. The quality of the journal depends on peer reviewers. So it's very important that I think that Innovative is doing a wonderful job. So many workshops for reviewers, so many videos are there. One thing they could add is perhaps some samples of a good review, samples of a poor review, just so that people know what we're expecting, what we want. And time, of course, we all are waiting for a reviewer who will stick to the timelines. Most of them accept, say, they'll review within 5 days. Then 5 months later, we are running behind them. And I think what Dr. Anand was saying was very true, especially for new reviewers. Perhaps they can be paired up with an editorial board member and mentored by them. Many of them have a lot of potential, but because they're not getting the feedback, they're not improving. They keep making the same comments which are of no use to anyone. So maybe a mentorship program may help these enthusiastic, but who need a bit of guidance. Mentorship may help.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah, ma'am.
Khushbu, one more point is that how
Yes,
to
sir.
motivate the reviewers. This is
Yes.
the most important. You send 30 persons for a single article and only 2 or 3 accept. And even then you have to give in the multiple reminders.
So actually, this question is quite famous. We encounter this question many a times. So we are on this path only. So there are many benefits for the reviewers and editors too, and we are upgrading it soon, because as you know, we want journal to get indexed in Scopus Web of Science. We want a quality check, a good editorial board composition, good peer review process. For all that, we need expertise, a good board member of expertise, good knowledge. So definitely we will work to motivate editors, reviewers. Definitely, sir. So
One comment from my side.
yes, sir.
Nowadays, reviewers, they are giving AI-based review, which can be very well seen by the editor, and we can block such reviews being spread out to the community. Why I'm telling this is, recently in a journal submitted by our team, have been given the AI-based review, which we have taken to the social media. So such reviews can be avoided directly by the editor-in-chief, because once the editor-in-chief must have checked the reviews being sent out to the authors, it can be avoided. So editor-in-chief should take care of the full responsibility before the reviews reach the authors directly. If author sue the reviewer or the journal will have a black mark on it. Because we, the journal members, we are expecting non-AI based article. In return, we have to give non-AI based review comments. This point should be taken up by the journal very strictly, and all the editor-in-chiefs should be informed regarding the AI-based review comments not to be rolled out to the authors. This is a very serious issue which is ongoing in one particular journal from India.
Yes, sir, definitely, and very valid point. So, as per your concern, what reviewers, few of the reviewers and editors, what they are doing, just they are uploading the whole manuscript to the Chat GPT and saying, review it, then putting their comments through the MPRP portal. So, where another point, sir has told, it's a full responsibility. It's a humble request to all the editor-in-chief of the journals to take the responsibility of it before putting the comments.
We have written a new topic. It is a very famous journal from India, Elsevier-based journal. We have taken to social media and we have raised a point. Now it is in the conflict of interest. So any author can sue any journal based upon the reviewer comments being rolled out to the authors. It's our responsibility to take care of it.
Yes,
by
sir.
not rolling out review comments.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
actually, we're all getting these AI generated reviews, which we know no busy academician will have time to write. One glance at it, we know that it is AI generated. And we have discussed already, I think Nikita ma'am and her team are coming up with guidelines for use of AI by reviewers.
Yes, madam. We had already prepared some guideline with the support of all the editorial bodies and mentors of ours, and we had updated it on our website. More information, please go through our website for the AI uses guideline. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Madan sir, for raising such a good point. Now moving forward to the next question. How does editorial board composition influence journal direction and credibility? How does editorial board composition influence journal direction and credibility? Yes, Dr. Hana ma'am.
Yeah, see, each journal covers a whole vast array of subspecialties. So it's very important that each subspecialty is represented on the editorial board, and those people are the ones who get the manuscripts relating to that subspecialty. Often what happens is that if someone is interested in glaucoma, they're randomly assigned retina articles. So that all will bring down the standard of the journal. Each subspecialty should be defined within the journal, and the editorial board should have, at least from the broad specialties within each subject, they should be well represented. Apart from geographical diversity, we also need adequate representation, balanced and even representation from all subspecialties.
I also want to add one point in the question only. Please, while answering this question, please make a point that editorial board composition includes subject categories, different subject categories, as well as geographical diversity. Not only geographical diversity, subject categories. For example, we want submission of articles from different countries, from different regions, from different states. So their way of thinking process, their climate condition, their research methodology. For example, a research is going on in Japan may be different from the research is going on India, because the geographical condition is quite different. So if a person is reviewing article from if a person from India is reviewing the article received with the article which is received from Japan would be like there will be a little bit conflict of thoughts. So what we have to consider, how this will influence the credibility of the journal. So my point is that how this will influence the journal credibility and direction, because we want submissions from different countries, as well as we want editor board from different countries, from international board. So how we can improve that, how we can approach this destination? Dr. Anand sir.
Yeah, one point that is covered here is representativeness of all the stakeholders as editorial board members is very important. Only then there is a balance and credibility. That is one point. Second point is conflicts of interest. Even editorial board members can have conflicts of interest, and they have to declare that. If there is a significant conflict of interest related to a particular article, they should tell that, and they should refrain from reviewing or analyzing that article.
Yes, sir. Dr. Balamurugan, sir?
Okay. So it's actually the section editors would be better to handle the manuscript well rather than random editors within the journal. Okay, that as ma'am said, that subspecialty editors would handle the manuscript in a better way, and the manuscript, like we need to compose the editorial board worldwide. Okay, from different countries, not only pertaining to India. So worldwide, we need to compose editorial board. And I think even though it's from other countries, if we have a proper guidelines, I think all the editors can hold on to that guidelines and proceed with the further peer reviewing process. Though it's from different geographical location, if we all can hold on to one particular guidelines, I think that would be better way we can increase the credibility of the journal.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Lalit Gupta, sir?
Most of the points are already said. However, one thing is that all the editorial board composition, be the geographical or the section editor, assistant editor, associate editor, additional editor, all should be know their roles and responsibility. A detailed description of their roles and responsibility should be given, including the timelines they are required to handle that particular article. Because most of the time, what happens, the section editor takes an article sent to the reviewers, and then the reviewer is delayed. The section editor is now waiting and waiting. He or she is not sending again new review to the other. So apart from that, they should know what are their limitations, the timelines, and the general policy. And apart from all the things have already been covered by Khushbu and others. So there is nothing left.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Madhi,
Maybe
Haji, Dr. Balamurugan, sir, please continue.
Maybe we can include peer reviewers from, say, like we are inviting 3 peer reviewers. Maybe we can include from one or 2 peer reviewers from the national and one from the international. So that based on the reviewer comments, the differences in the reviewer comments can be easily assessed by the editors, and from there we can take it to the authors.
The most important problem is that even if you invite so many reviewers, how many are willing to review that manuscript for you? You all just keep on sending 30 reviewers. Out of the 30, it's hardly one or two who accept it, and that they do not review on the time. You have to again remind them, because I have seen in the international journals, they usually send by every 4 or 5 days a reminder, kindly review. So the policy is that the reviewers is the everything. You have to work hard to get them.
Yes, sir.
I also like to say one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Most people in academia, in the leading institutions, they are happy to be on editorial board. So we should not have an inferiority complex and be running behind people. It's not just our own network of friends. Feel free to approach people in leading institutions who you may not know and say that I'm editor of this journal. Would you like to join and be on the editorial board? You will be surprised how many, especially NRIs or people who are of Indian origin, they're so happy to be part of some Indian journals, even people you don't know. So if you know the institution, please reach out and ask whether they will help be on your editorial board.
Very true, ma'am. So the next question comes from your comment. The next question is asking, what role does author reputation or institutional affiliation play in content evaluation? Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely, there are some prestigious institutions. And actually, my personal experience recently, we reached out to a lady with Indian name in Johns Hopkins, and she has agreed to be on our editorial board. So, I mean, this is the top institution in the world, and we are waiting to see what she will contribute. and they're not in these positions for nothing. And so they definitely will bring a higher standard, and they will help us to uplift ourselves to international standards. We have lots of potential. It just needs to be in the right way, and with the right editorial board members, definitely we can reach. Already 10 journals are Scopus indexed. I think even 5 years ago, Nikita ma'am would not have imagined this. But it's expanding and it's growing so well and so nicely. Definitely, we shouldn't set limits. Sky is the limit for innovative.
Thank you so
Madam,
much, ma'am.
this all credit goes to all the editors of innovative publication journals, and you all did tremendous job and excellent job for this success. So thank you very much, Dr. Lalit sir, Dr. Madan, and you and many people who are associated with us since inception, supported us a lot to understand all the guidelines. Even we all together learn a great initiative by COPE, Committee of Publication Ethics, Indian International, ICMJ, International Committee for Medical Journals Editors. Even Dr. Lalit sir is now a member for ICMJ and WAM. So this all, guidance is coming from you all editors, and thank you being part of the mentorship of innovative publication. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Nikita. Coming to you, Dr. Madan, for your comments on the question. Dr. Lalit, maybe you can add your points.
So Dr. Hannah has very beautifully explained that the institution name helps you to it helps you uplift the publication quality. When you know that the article is from a very reputed institute or in a particular research that is being done, so it gives the extra citations to your journal. So whenever we have a chance, we should see them in a proper perspective, how it is going to help us. But at the same time, we should not do partiality by just not accepting the articles of the institutes that are not so big, because even in them, the work is done in a very good level and it is very genuine at some level. So we should not, but definitely a good institute and good research helps in uplifting the morale of the journal.
Right, sir. Dr. Bala?
So from institution, yes, definitely, if there is a standard institution and if we receive a manuscript from that particular institution, it always carries a name and a tagline, okay? That this manuscript received from this particular college or institution will be great, okay? So, but I recently came across an article stating that there were many manuscripts that has been delisted from the Scopus and the Web of Science for being a manuscript that has been published without any quality. Okay, this was retracted after publication. I think that was almost in the top 10 journals, sorry, from top 10 institutes. This has happened in India. Okay, top 10 Indian institute, it has been happened. Like they just show the number of articles that is being published from that particular institute. Okay, so I don't want to mention the name of the institute. One particular institute has published 2,500 manuscripts in a month. Okay, so that was like later known, and that was been around they have almost published 10,000 articles. Okay, and among which they have retracted almost 500 articles. So though it is a single manuscript, and if the study that has been performed is within the scope of the journal, and if it is a quality article, I think that is more than enough to increase the journal credibility and scope to a further level. Rather than, though it is if it is from an institute, and if it is a one single manuscript that we receive from a particular institute of good quality, I think that keeps the name of the institute rather than just showing a number of articles that has been published from institute.
Very true, sir. We agree completely. Institute does add some points, but actual quote is with the manuscript. We really need the quality manuscripts. Dr. Anand, some other point
Yeah,
to add?
regarding these reputed institutions, I have a different perspective at. There is a feeling that any submission from a reputed institution tends to be accepted. Equally good quality manuscript from not so popular institution doesn't get accepted in the same way. So this can be definitely avoided by if the institution specific and author specific guidelines are not included in the manuscript that is given for review, that is blinded, then this aspect will be definitely taken care of.
I'd just
So,
like to clarify, Khushbu, 1 minute, that what we were saying was for the editorial board inclusion. Definitely, when you look at an article which has been submitted, we should not look at which institution it has come from. It needs to be assessed on its own standing without seeing who is the author, where it has come from. That should be totally blinded. As you said, there's such low quality from the best institutions and very, very good quality from what we think are very low quality institutions. I was speaking only for editorial board members. Definitely having a wide, diverse editorial board with people from reputed, prestigious institutions, I hope will help us.
Yeah, agree, madam. Your point is well taken. I just wanted to add a different perspective about the popular institutions.
So we had a great session with all these great insights from you experts. Now I invite Khushbu for the vote of thanks.
before concluding the panel discussion, I would like to request Dr. Nikita ma'am for there will be 2 poll questions for the all participants over there. Please draw your kind attention towards your screen. So here is the first question. Who is primarily responsible for formulating ethical research policies and practices in your research, in your institution region? So there are 4 options. First one is individual researchers, B, institutional ethics committee or review board, C, national and international regulatory bodies, D, academic journals and publishers. So yes, all participants over there, what will be the answer? Out of 4 options, you have to choose one.
10 seconds more.
Yes, ma'am.
So we got results that institutional ethical committees and or reviewer board will be the maximum vote for this particular option. But the regulatory bodies also have an important role, like COPE, ICMJ, WAM, etc. They are preparing white papers on the ethics of research publication. So these are also the policy maker people. So thank you for your participation, and let me allow for 2 minutes to compile the summary of today panel discussion. So here first is editorial board composition. So this all summary is on the basis of rigorous study by the Web of Science and Scopus and PubMed. So we have to consider this point. Even every editor had mentioned in their panel, their discussion, and I'm thankful to you. So first is editor must be subject expertise. The number of publication is more than 30 plus with adequate age index. The experience in academia is more than 10 plus years for the editors, right? And academic rank is academic rank is more than a professor, associate professor, and they must be present on the internet, like different platform like Orchid, like Researchers ID, then Scopus ID, then Research Profile, which is the unique product by Innovative Publications. So you can even make your profile there to ResearchGate and Google Scholar, because every indexing evaluation will be evaluate your portfolio through the availability of your work on the various websites. So Orchid ID is one of the most important which we are considering during the updating our editorial board into the publication house, and it is given by the institutions like COPE, ICMJ, and other policy makers. So this is all about the editorial board composition. And thanks again, Dr. Alpa. You had a great job to make an drawn and light to by all of the panelists on the peer review procedures. So peer review is must be clear, concise, and accurate. The comments to author may vary brief, especially in the case of excellent well prepared papers. They may be extensive, and or if reviewers feel the paper is valuable element but requires extensive revision to present the findings effectively. The reviewer should be remembered that the review will be sent to the authors, and that is should be written in a constructive and collegial manner. A good review should be help authors to think more clearly about their work and its design, execution, presentation, and significance. So peer review is the most important part, which lastly we had discussed, that is content relevance. If the review should be great, then definitely the content relevance is more result oriented. So finally, after the discussion, the summary points I find in the content relevance is Scopus and other evaluating agency is one of the largest, most prestigious abstract and citation database for peer reviewed literature. So when you are preparing your manuscript, just follow the good tools like Scopus, PubMed, and more specific database and tools which is available for the research. We had conducted number of events on this, so please go through our website in the resource and training center training section, and you may find all these details by the great mentor team of editors from national, international editorial board of various journals. So however, to maintain high standard, Scopus and other evaluating agencies applies the rigorous general selection process. To go on through this process, our content relevance must be needed to clear these procedures of evaluation. So which is overseen by the content selection advisory board. So just think of there is a reviewer board, and then there is a editorial board. All the guidelines should be maintained by the publisher. All the ethical perspective which we are giving training continuously. In spite of that, there is a final reviewing content reviewing body is there in the every evaluating database agencies known as Content Selection and Advisory Board, that is CSAB. So these content selection advisory board will be gone through every content of the journal. So we must be clear before publication, and even editors are requested to go through continuously. I mean, the editor-in-chief must be taken care of all this aspect, but other editors also are requested to go through all the guidelines which is available on the website, like editor, I mean the scope, and what exactly the editorial guidelines available for the author, reviewers, editors on the website. So you must be go through it, and please share your feedback to us. We are very much happy to incorporate your feedback on those all. Then finally, the content selection and advisory board, like the CSAB, is an independent group of subject matter experts. Like our editorial board is is an independent group of subject matter specialist for a particular journal. Like this, they also have a CSAB, and they are expert in the bibliometricians from various academic disciplines across the world. So we must be very careful about whole procedure of the editorial publications, like from submission to publication. Every procedure is very much important for the content relevance, even for sometimes for formatting also. A single dot or comma will they ask questions on us or to the publisher that the formatting is not up to this level, right? So we had even appointed a number of formatting through AI tools, which are even given by the by the COPE and other institutions. Then Scopus, I mean these peoples, I mean in evaluating agency even discontinue the journal which is into the Scopus or into the PubMed or Web of Science, if this any of the guidelines should be void in the futures too. So every time we must be clear about these all things. So thank you everyone for your patience listening, and I hope I summarized the today's panel discussion in a way. Thank you, Dr. Lalit.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for summarizing the whole symposium. So before binding the session, I would like to share my screen once again, because uh, it's gratitude, out of gratitude, and we are truly grateful because our panelists have taken out their precious time so that the session become more fruitful. So first certificate of excellence goes to Dr. Anand sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us today and for sharing your expert feedbacks.
Thank you.
Another, we have Dr. Balamurgan sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing
Thank you,
such a valuable points. All points are very valid. Thank you, Dr. Hana ma'am, for being here, for joining us today. And always you are very, very supportive. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Lalit Gupta, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your expertise and insightful thoughts. Next, we have Dr. Madan, sir. Thank you, Dr. Madan, sir, for joining us today and sharing your fruitful points. Next, we have Dr. Nikita, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for being a driving force through this event. Without you, this event would not be possible. Thank you for being here.
Actually, I find number of questions in the question answer box, but every question will be covered during the panel discussion. So I would like to request you all to please go through the website FAQ section, guidelines section, and resources section. So you can find every information there. And if you have any other suggestion for us, then we are requesting you that please suggest, fill the feedback form for for the upcoming topics of webinar. And one more poll question is there, that is only for to giving you information that what we are coming with the next webinar topic. So let me allow for this last and final poll. Mm. So, for the next time, we will discuss on the academic integrity, right? So, what does academic integrity preliminary means to you in a context of research, following international guideline or a system like ICAMR and Helsinki Declaration, being honest and transparent in data collection, analysis, and reporting, something about having integrity, like being a good human and hoping it works in research tool, and giving proper credit, avoiding plagiarism, or acknowledging contribution. So this is the question for 10 second more. So as expected, there is no clear answer because this is again a new term which is very much into the question in research right now. So definitely stay tuned for the all of your information on academic integrity. So all ethical standard we can discuss for the academic integrity in our next sessions. Thank you. Stay tuned.
Thank you all.
Yes. So please, now we are behind the time, 11 minutes more. So Khushbu, please complete the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening once again, and thank you all for joining us for day 2 of our symposium on policy and practices in research publication. A heartfelt thank you to our respected panelists, Dr. Hana ma'am, Dr. Madan sir, Dr. Lalit Gupta sir, Dr. Bala Murugan sir, Dr. Anand sir, for sharing their expertise and thoughtful perspectives on the evolving landscape of research publishing. Your insights into editorial practices, peer review integrity, and global inclusivity have truly enriched today's discussion. We are grateful to our audience participants for their engagement and thoughtful questions in the chat box, and we look forward to continuing this important dialogue in the sessions in the future. And there is a little announcement to our audiences over there. Please make sure to visit to our IP Innovative website for all the updates. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn platform, Instagram, YouTube. You can get all the details over there. And another point, you can download your participation certificate from the website. We will forward you an email regarding that. And thank you once again for joining us today. Thank you so much for your association with IP Innovative Publications.